The Strategic Hotbox with Dr. Brandi Love Stankovic. Discussing leadership, business, and how to take control of your life and achieve greatness. From the streets of Las Vegas, energized, informed, and never diluted. It's time to kick some ass.
Welcome to the Strategic Hotbox. Glad that you're back here with me. Thank you for being back here with me. And I should have found out from our guest today, Ellie from Macedonia, how to say welcome to the Hotbox in your language. Will you say welcome to the Hotbox for us?
Yes. Dobro dojdovte.
All right. Welcome to the Hotbox. Sounds so much sexier when she does it. Today, we're going to talk about being young and female, what that means from the global perspective, and how we can break barriers no matter where we are from on the globe. And several of you out there, our listeners, our followers, our watchers, are from lots of places in the globe. And so this will be a really great topic for us to tackle today. Let's get started. So young and female, those are two interesting things to say in the world today right now anyway, and then add in the global perspective. I think leadership skills in general are less relevant, only localized. When I hear people say that I'm really good at this one function of my job and I do it really good every day, all the time, that idea is that you have to be better than that. You have to be more than just your job at your organization, and thinking about how it impacts your community, whatever that community looks like. It might actually be the city, it could be your country, it could be your part of the globe, or it could just be the community of people and leaders that you serve inside your organization. But it's important to have that global perspective. And for women leaders, it's the same. It's for young leaders, it's the same. And you want to be able to apply. There are going to be some skills that we'll learn from our guests today on how to apply some of those skills across many different cultures and across the globe. But I think it's an interesting time in general for diversity. And we've tackled this topic a few times here on the Hotbox, and probably will continue to do in the future. Diversity is important to me. It's important that it's getting as much light that it is. And in the United States, even with things like gender pay disparity, with the hashtag #MeToo movement, with sexual harassment, with sexual orientation identification things that are happening, I think that I want to learn more about how I can make a difference, how I can make a difference in my life, my children's lives, the people that I work with live, and make sure that I'm supporting and I'm being a person of inclusion and knowing exactly what that means. Now, this weekend, I was traveling up to the Central Coast of California and ducked my head into a vinyl record shop, right? I love to do this kind of thing, like just get a little hippie from time to time. I got a little hippie in me. Anyway, I went into this record shop. It was really cool, digging through some old things, and I found We Are the World. What? Does anybody remember? No, I'm not getting any feedback from here. Does anyone remember that record, We Are the World? And it came out, I wrote it down, 1985, USA for Africa. Michael Jackson and Steve Perry, a couple of my favorites that were on there, Cyndi Lauper. There was a bunch of different really popular artists at the time, and We Are the World was the jam. Here it is. Hopefully you're hearing it, those that are listening to the podcast or those that are watching today, you can hear it in the background. It was the jam. I knew all the parts. But the reason I bring it up is because it was all about global awareness. And it was the first time that a group of really forefront celebrity musicians had come together and said, hey, we need to pay attention to what's happening across the globe. And in that particular case, they were talking about Africa. And I love that, the power of music, the power that had on global awareness, on global donation, on people coming together and collaborating for global good. And that's the key to that, is collaborating for global good. And another group that I'm a part of that I want to give a shout out to is the YCUP, the World's Young Credit Union Professionals. And so hello to all the World's Young Credit Union Professionals that are out there through the World Council of Credit Unions. And we've had actually several YCUP guests here on the Hotbox. And I hope I don't blow it. And Zach, hopefully you have my back on this, but we've got Stacey Walker, Leon Darrell, Tyler Valentine, Janelle, Chris, Paul Norgrove, Ellie. We have so many of our YCUP friends and a lot. Darren. There's been so many, and we'll continue to think of it throughout the episode just in case we're missing anybody. But there's been a lot of shout outs and from friends across the globe as well. So thank you to all for being a part of that. And the reason that I bring it up here again is that collaboration for global good. So in YCUP, we work towards education, events, and global networking. And we've had a long history of promoting the inclusion of young people in business and doing whatever we can to have the next generation of people that come after us be as included in part of that development and growth that we had the opportunity to before, and how we can continue to stand on each other's shoulders to build each other up for the future. And it's important to determine also in that part of that collaboration from a global perspective, how international differences make us so unique and beautiful, but they're also core inherent differences. Cultural differences are a big deal if they're happening in your organization, whether it's a subculture or if they're happening, in the globe, from country to country. And all of those things, the more that we have the chance to be exposed to it, the better. So if you do get the chance to travel to places like Macedonia or travel to other countries in the world, then please do, and you get to see that exposure. And if you don't, pay attention to the subcultures that are happening in your own backyard and your own communities, and think about what inherent things you have inside and what that brings to the table. Now, I want to bring on our subject matter expert formally, and I'm going to formally say her name in my best Macedonian. And what's the language of Macedonia?
Macedonian.
It's Macedonian. Okay, so Eleonora Zgonjanin.
That was excellent.
Yeah, all right, that was excellent. She and Ellie, for short, is creating change for young leaders, for women leaders all across the country, as well as in financial services. She's the CEO of FULM, and she's a YCUP scholarship winner and recipient. She's got her MBA from Sheffield University. She's also a Global Women's Leadership Network leader and grant recipient. She, last year, as a matter of fact, this year even, the Macedonian Prime Minister recognized FULM, your organization, during ICU for promoting the country for the last 20 years. That's amazing. Welcome. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. That was really excellent introduction. To be honest, I feel like a star.
Yeah, you feel, yeah? Well, you're now a Hotbox celebrity.
This is my first experience, and I hope that it will be successful as other media.
Absolutely. And the red carpet helped,
oh,
right?
The feeling is nice.
Oh, I love it. So tell us about your journey in leadership.
Okay. First of all, I would like to say special bravo to you for development of the strategic hotbox. I know from the moment when you said, okay, this is a good idea, until this moment when you have 400,000 people is exposed to this, that was really excellent.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Bravo.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Ready for that. That's really something that is quite inspirational also for people worldwide.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, as you said, I had good experience in the finance because I am a financial person mostly. And how my journey started with the credit union is something that I will probably remember all my life. Because first of all, just to clarify, most of the people doesn't know where is Macedonia, and that is why that is small country when you drive 2 hours from one side to the other side. So it's quite understandable that most of the people will miss it maybe. But it's in the Europe, and it's around first neighbor of Greece, and Greece is famous, so we are using.
Yeah.
And Albania and Serbia and Bulgaria is our neighbors.
Okay.
So practically the country is part of the former Yugoslavia, and in 1990 was split up as a separate country. What was challenging that time was that financial system should started from zero, and there was a collapse of the formal system. So we started to build a new financial system. And that was the challenge for VOCU, because VOCU made a decision in that time to come in Macedonia as a country to set up a project. And USAID made the good decision to fund it, and we started from zero. So we started to develop a credit union movement in Macedonia.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that was really challenging because it was in the time when there was a pyramid schemes and everything that people mistrust, of the system. And to convince at that time someone that you should start a credit union,
give your money
to someone money, it's quite challenging. But I'm happy that I made that decision. I used to be working in a bank, and I was 29. And I said, okay, this is something new, and I will do this. And I enrolled myself. I started to work in VOCU, and then we opened a credit union. So the biggest challenge was you are so lucky here. You have all this law, you have all this environment infrastructure. In that part of the world, there are no. So you have everything from zero. Like there was no possibility. We didn't have a credit union law. So we said, and probably the most important is what we would like to say to everybody. I was 29 and a woman. And that environment was like, oh, this will be a matter of time that will collapse.
It's amazing though that you make the point really quick that I want to point out that you said we were so lucky here in the United States to have the laws, regulations, infrastructure, right? And so many of us here in the United States would be like, oh, I'm so burdened by the law, the infrastructure, the rules, regulations. But yet in a world without it, where you were, it's chaos. And how does a person that's 29, that's female, do something about that?
Well, that was the challenge when you know, what is probably the best lessons is that I've learned is that you need to rely on knowledge of the others. You know, you need to have someone who will mentor, someone who will believe. And when you would like to cry to someone's shoulders, you will go to that person. And I really had a great opportunity in that time to meet Marta, who was project director in that time in Macedonia. And she helped a lot in that period of transition. And the something that you have here, and you are not exposed to that lack of infrastructure or lack of regulation or everything that I was amazed. First time when I came in the US, it was 1999, and I was amazed that you have already everything in place. So you need just to follow the rule, and we need to make the rules. And that environment in the country and that part of the world where the woman is first wife, then mother, and then third working woman, it's quite challenging.
Is that still the same today?
No, the things are getting better. And I think, and I'm really proud that are changing. And that is changed over the last few years especially. And I'm really proud that quite big influence about that has a sister society of the Global Women Leadership Network. You know, Macedonia was the first sister society that we opened part in Macedonia. And we expose all that people to the situation, how all women worldwide have the same challenges. You know, it's just a different word on a different language, but the challenge is the same.
Right.
So what was the basic for that time for us was to make sure that people will trust. Because you can do everything, but if people doesn't trust you, nothing happen.
Yeah.
And in that time, I had a lot of people who will just consult me that, okay, Eli, that was not very clever for you.
Right.
Because it's too new and too unknown to get in. But look at me now, 20 years later.
Yeah, look at me now.
Yeah. That was the challenge. And I would like to say to everybody, especially to the young woman, you know, it's time that you take a challenge. Otherwise, you can always regret your life, you know. Oh, I could have, but I couldn't, but the time flow. So it was excellent opportunity for me to start that credit union movement from zero. FULM means Financial Services of People of Macedonia. And we have one huge credit union for whole country with multiple branches. And most of their people that are working are women. And I'm really happy because they stay with years with us and believe in developing this credit union movement.
And so the message that you had for young women there in talking about, and it's not even just women, so it could be young people, it could be people that are new to their jobs that they're in. It's that don't be afraid to be the crazy one, right?
Exactly.
Don't be afraid to be the one that pisses people off because change is uncomfortable.
Yeah, and that will be probably the crucial potential for growth. If you are not ready to do the changes, the growth will run away. Is this personally or it's business? It's the same. You need to be ready to get some risk. Result of that risk is that you will have new environment, something better, and make sure that you follow, you know, the spirit of building new things.
Right. And it's a long-term commitment too. You can't just do something major like that and then be like, okay, that was fun for the afternoon. It takes time to progress. And so what does diversity look like then in Macedonia? You talked a little bit from a female perspective. Is everybody from your part of the country look the same? Kind of, how does diversity play out?
Well, the country has been exposed to the formal system that was socialism system, so that's still influence on the older generation. But however, the interest of people to be together for whatever they would like to achieve is something that we are really proud that we've earned from all these activities, especially to the worldwide exposure. People see that, okay, no matter how different we are, we can do something together for better. Is it like for better financial access or better services or whatever that makes you better?
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that diversity then becomes the stepping point for people to be bold and be different and push harder. And I'd imagine, especially in a situation like that, being where you are in Europe and being that the entire original country was split, that there's a lot of unrest that's happening too. So it's not just people without it, it's almost people in chaos in a sense. And I think that people, anybody that's listening or watching that's a part of any sort of minority, so whatever that looks like in your organization, maybe you're the youngest of a team, maybe you're the only female, maybe the oldest of a team, because I feel like that's becoming the new place that people feel like a little bit excluded is by being older, or whatever that looks like. We're just not feeling a little out of place from time to time. That diversity is the value, and that don't be afraid to continue to push forward and have those conversations.
Yeah, and I will just confirm with you is the following. Even the motto that we developed for our institution was different from others. And all these years, we position ourselves, look, we are different from others. So we will accept you, as you said, no matter that you are young, we will give you opportunity to do something. No matter that you are a woman, we will take in consideration that you need to go home, family, everything, and still have time for work. So make us different from whatever is the environment was probably one of the pushes for our institution.
That's amazing. And so how do so now that you've built this, you've grown this, and you have some momentum, how do then the global issues come in and impact your organization, your country?
I've been asked on a different occasion in the country for issue about the global. The most important thing that I was always advising, especially the women from our part of the world, especially the young of our part, or whoever would like to start whatever business, is you need to have international cooperation. You need to be part of something internationally, because most of the know-how, it's already outside. I mean, that's we need to admit in Macedonia.
Right.
So us being part of the VOCU all these years was excellent opportunity for learning, and everybody who would like to be something, to be in some field, you need to get and see what already outside internationally is developed. Let's see how that is internationally possible.
Right.
So let's learn. They already managed something new or something already developed. So get that knowledge in the momentum,
Right. And I think that's such a good lesson for anybody, no matter if they're in a mature system or an organization, a startup organization, or something that's been around the block, but that you don't always have all the right answers. And one of the things that you were lucky in feeling was that we know we have to go outside, where a lot of people, I think, in more established countries or organizations will think, I know it all.
Yeah,
I don't need to have the opinion of other people. And that's probably one of the worst places to be, because you're right. When you get exposed to that, others and how people are doing things, there's always ways and opportunities to learn. So how can people support and share each other? How can we share and support and continue to connect? If people wanted to broaden their horizons and start getting involved in a global perspective, how can they start doing that?
Well, first of all, they need to be interested that no matter of which country you are, no matter what language do you speak, the issues that you are waking up and you are fall asleep are probably quite close.
Yeah.
The difference is how you will manage them. Here you have more opportunity, but at the end, all of us would like to have a better life. So the difference is probably in our country, we need to spend more and more to get that better life. But when you will be exposed internationally, you will see And I think that you will appreciate more what you
Yes.
have.
Absolutely.
And that is something that I always say. I was, to be honest, first time when I started to be CEO, on 29, I was thinking, okay, what I need to do now from what?
uh-huh.
And then I got CEO KitKat. What? It's like document.
A kit? Uh-huh.
Kit, yeah,
Uh-huh.
sorry. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, someone wrote exactly, and you have that ability. So could you imagine how that frustrates from this side? But here you have that opportunity, and you have that information, and you not
Don't even
validate.
use it,
Yeah. You are not validated on the same as we.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that
Don't
will
even
be
appreciate it.
appreciate exactly. So if you expose yourself more internationally, I think that you will validate more what you have in
I
you.
appreciate what you have. I agree. And even if you go to a sophisticated country, a country that's equal to where you are from, progression level or progressive society, sometimes it's really nice to be home.
Yeah.
And what home looks like. But also, I love the point that you made about bringing it back to that we are the world. We are all human. And a lot of the challenges and issues that we face, no matter how progressive the organization or country is, are going to be similar. And so just being open and sensitive to that and accepting that with love, I think is important as well. So can you share a funny story with us?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We have probably something that, that the most of the thing was when we started, there was, we need to convince people to save, And we opened the first branch in the small village, and we have one woman came with to deposit the money, and she deposited the money, and we are in the seventh heaven, happy that
So
someone
excited, yeah.
so excited, finally
Deposit,
someone, yeah.
uh-huh.
And then the next day she's coming and she's saying, okay, I would like to withdraw the money. I was so disappointed, to be honest.
Yeah.
I still feel that disappointment. And okay, we gave her the money, and she take the bills, and she's checking the serial number of the bills.
Mm.
And she said, oh, these are not my money.
Oh, wait a minute.
And I was saying, oh my God, how we will get that trust, that level of
Right.
trust.
That she knew her serial numbers
that
on
she
her.
was so afraid to put the money.
Right.
Could you imagine that feeling? And I'm assuming that you cannot, because here
No,
again
right, yeah.
that is completely different, because you didn't lose so much money in the pyramidal scheme, in the collapse of the country, huge savings were lost. So could you imagine from which environment we need to build credit
Right.
union movement?
Right.
But now we have, I don't know.
Did she ever come back with her money?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Thousands of people that are coming and saving. But it was something that I will remember all life, because I was just so close to say, okay, probably I made mistakes.
Yeah.
But 20 years later, no.
Aw. And so can you tell a bold action item or a takeaway for the people listening today, something to do differently?
Well, what I will say honestly to everybody is that you need to educate. To learn permanently. One of the biggest mistake that most of the people, especially, honestly, executives are doing, that they are forgetting to go and learn again. Whatever. You need permanently to educate yourself. Otherwise, you will be stuck. Position is position. It's a matter of time. But if you think that you should stop, okay, I got some executive position, so it's finished. No, that is the biggest mistake that you will ever make.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, I did masters, and 3 years ago we started a new new type of the strategy. Thanks to the to donation of the Global Woman, we have a completely new communication strategy, which was based on the information technology and social media. And I was saying, okay, how I will convince all my employees, everybody, to start to accept this new thing, Still we are Macedonia, and probably everything is cash based. So I'm trying to convince that. And I said, okay, I will do as usual what I do. And this is my second recommendation. You need to lead by the example.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot say, okay, do this.
And then do something different.
And do something differently.
Yeah.
And this is how I did for this. I said, okay, people, the 21st century is here. We need to wake up ourselves and to change how we will work. We need to introduce everything that is possible to be digitalized, everything to be on social media. And I'm committed to that, to this level, that I will write myself on the PhD for information technology, just to understand that how it's important for us. Otherwise, you will see that, okay, it's just one more document with good name.
Right.
So, and since then, everybody realized that was 3 years ago. And I'm going and just, we are funny story in our country that, okay, maybe she's the CEO. It's easy for her to do PhD. I said, no, I will be fair enough. And I will go in another country where I'm not CEO. I'm just one more student.
Right.
So this is,
Good for you.
That's something shows that, okay, how that is important for us.
Sure. Important for you, important for the organization.
Exactly. So, and this is how I think that everybody should, especially young, should lead by the example.
Yes.
Because the time when you order something, okay, do this, it's history. You need to show why this is very important for you and why that will be very important for the institution.
Yeah. I love that. Educate and lead by example.
Yeah. That will be something that I will probably advise everybody.
Yeah, of all ages and all looks and shapes and sizes. How could people get a hold of you?
Well, they can always Google it. This my special surname, which is
mine too.
So, and they can just connect us via Facebook, internet, whatever media, and we are there, and we are planning to continue to be there.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And we'll have your information out on the strategichotbox.com as well. Thank you so much, Ellie, for being here.
That's really nice experience.
All right. You did great. You nailed it. All right. Let's head out to our shout out.
Yay! My name is Mambo Harriet Hangu. I'm from Cameroon. I'm listening to Brandi on the Hotbox.
Thank you to Mambo Harriet Tango for being part of a shout out and another Y-Cupper from across the globe here joining us in the shout out perspective. I hooked up Tyler. Tyler Valentine was in it. He's my main man. He's my guy. So he was definitely in the so Zach was while we were away. We just got the hint, Ellie and I, that any other Y-Cuppers that might be included in the hot box, and he shouted out Tyler. But I couldn't forget my Spoon. Where you at, Spoon? Okay, so now it's my time. It's our favorite time. It's time to kick some ass. Number one. The most important thing that we talked about today, and Ellie said it very, articulately, is to think globally, think outside, think bigger picture, know that you're not the smartest person in the room, think outside your organization, your community, your industry, and be able to look and broaden those skills that you may have. Number two, also know your stuff. And she said it by leading by example, but know your industry and know what it is that you want to be going after. Have it be very, very clear. The more clear you are in your passion and your focus, and even if you don't know where you're exactly how it's all going to play out, if the commitment's there, that's key. Number three, challenge the perception. So if you're a young person, if you're a female, if you're a male, if the older person in the room, whatever majority or minority that you might be a part of, challenge the way that people perceive things before. Know that when you are facing something different, when you are challenging and breaking norms and building new foundations and structure, that you might receive some negative feedback, that people might come back and think you're a little crazy. And that's okay, because we explore the crazy. We push the crazy. Number four is to don't forget to give back. So whether you give back to other young professionals like we do with the Y Cup or with Global Women, or to the younger professionals or different emerging people in your organization, give back and do good. And number five is collaborate. We are the world, after all, right? I mean, we are the world. We are the children. We're humans. We're human beings. And knowing and collaborating with one another is one of the best things that we can possibly do. It's all about choosing love. You know me. Choose love. That's your top five. Kick ass. Well, thank you very much. One more time, formally, Eleonora Zgonjanin.
Oh, that was even better.
Yeah. I almost felt like in that one, I was just kind of like running my tongue a little bit. But if you'd like to hear us tackle anything on the Hotbox, please reach out to strategichotbox.com or podcast at thestrategichotbox.com or hit us up on that social media technology, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere we're around. Hit us up. We'd love to hear more from you. Thank you again, Ellie, and thank you to all of you listening from across the globe. Until I see you again, get out there and kick some ass. Wait, and say it and now in your language. Get out there and kick some ass.
Odete negde i smačkajte nekoga.
See you soon.